All right, well, this is Casey here with CL Creative, where I'm teaching you web design and Webflow one video at a time. And today we're going to talk about how we can put a responsive Google map on our page in Webflow. Now, there are different ways that you can do this, but I'm going to show you a way that is actually free that you don't have to pay for. So let's jump into the computer and check things out. All right, so here we are in the computer, and I've just set up this page for us just to be able to play with and be able to see how this is actually going to function. And so imagine this is your business page. Imagine maybe this is a real estate page, whatever page it is that is on your website, and you need to put a Google map on there. And you need this Google map to be responsive. Now, for our purposes, this Google map is on this mock-up page that I put on my website, and it is also going to function as a CMS because we're going to take this one step further. I'm going to show you how to integrate this into the CMS collection so that it is dynamic. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is we actually need to get this map on the page. Now, I already have one here just so that we can compare it as we kind of work. And I've already set up a section for us here. So you notice here I have my section, I have my page padding, I got my container, my padding vertical, as well as I already have my HTML embed on the page. I work with client first, and this is kind of the way that things are set up. So I went ahead and set that up for us so that you don't have to keep kind of going through that. All right, so let's open up our embed element, and the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to head over to Google, and let me X out of that. And we're just going to search something up. And so what I currently have above is Johnson Square. So let's go ahead and search up Johnson Square. So this is going to show up on our map. And if you want a different view, say you don't like this style view, but maybe you want more of the satellite view, well, you just need to click over to the satellite view down here on the left. And you need to click over that before we do the next step, just so that you know. I'm going to go back to this view because it's different than our view above, and it will allow us to compare. What we'll do next is click on Share, and we're going to click on Embed Map. And they conveniently go ahead and give us the HTML here. So we're going to copy this HTML, and we're just going to throw this inside of our HTML embed code editor. And click Save and Close, and we're going to see how does this map look. Well, we see the map does not really quite look how we want the map to look, nor is this map responsive. So if you notice, it's cutting off of the screen over here. It's not really giving me any sideways scroll, but it is not doing exactly what I want it to do. It doesn't look nice like the map above does, and it's responding to the different breakpoints. So let's go back to our desktop breakpoint, and let's see what it is that we need to do in order to make this map responsive. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to have to add in some additional code. And so we're going to wrap this iFrame inside of another div. And we're going to give this div a class. And we're going to give this div a class of map. All right, so we have a div with a class of map here on, well, I'm just going to say, let's just do Google Map so that we know exactly what it is, Google Map. All right, we're going to make sure that we close our first tag there, and then we're going to go down here, and we are going to make sure that we close this. Now, one of the things with Webflow is their code editor is not closing things for you, just like VS Code would do. So we have to make sure that we're checking everything as we are coding inside of this code editor. So we've given it a class of Google Map. Obviously, this is not going to do anything. All we've done is wrap the iframe inside wrap the iframe in a div with a class of Google Map. So what we need to do is we need to style this map. And we're going to open up, and we're going to go ahead and close our style tags. So this is going to allow us to write some CSS. And what we want to do first is we want to target this parent div, which has Google Map as its class. So anytime we're writing CSS outside of Webflow and we're adding in styles, we need to make sure that we put a dot in front of the class name. So we're targeting Google Map now, and we're going to our curly brackets. We're going to open those. We're going to go ahead and close those just so we do not forget. And here's the code that we're going to add in. We're going to add an overflow hidden. We want to make sure that at the end of each of these, we're going to put a semicolon. So a colon in between and a semicolon over here. So we have that. Now we're going to do padding bottom. And we're going to give this padding bottom 56.25%. This is just a number that I've came up with. It's going to work great. So you can just go ahead and copy that. Then we're going to do position relative. And we're going to give it a height of 0 for right now. Okay, so this is essentially targeting this div that's wrapping our iframe. Now what we need to do in order to really make this responsive is we need to target the iframe inside of our div with a class of Google Map. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do Google Map. And now we're going to target that iframe that is inside of that. We're going to open with the curly brackets, and then we're going to close. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to set this to position absolute, and we're going to make it so that it fills up the whole space. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to say left 0, top top 0. We're going to give it a height of 100%. We're going to give it a width of 100%. And what we need to make sure here is, after our percentages, is that we are putting our semicolons. If you don't, it's not going to work. And now we're going to set the iframe itself to position absolute. And essentially what this is going to do, the outside div is going to, respond as we're moving up and down, and then the inside is going to respond alongside of that. It's going to move up, in and out in the responsive manner as well. So let's click save. We're going to notice this map is going to fill up the whole space. And as we kind of go up and down the different breakpoints, we see it's responsive just like that top grid. Okay, now let's take this a step further, and we want to make this dynamic. So we don't just have this like on our home page or some sort of static page on our website, but we've actually put this inside of a CMS collection. And we need a map for each page that's inside of that collection. So I've gone ahead and just set up a CMS collection here. I've labeled it Google Map. There's no items in here just yet. So let's open this up. So you can imagine that, you have a number of different items in here, all that will fill up all of the different items on the page that I just showed you. From our example, I'm only going to have one item just so that we can see how it works. And so what you're going to do is you're going to put inside of that collection, one of the fields is going to be a plain text field. You don't want to make it a link field or anything like that, a plain text field. And you're just going to label it Google Map, or you can label it whatever you want to label it. But just so that you know that this is the Google Map field. And we're going to save that. We're going to save our collection. All right, so I'm going to say a new Google Map, and this time let's go over here and find a different square that we are going to use. And so here let's use, say, for instance, Ellis Square. So let's click on Ellis. Let's search up Ellis Square in Savannah. So we have Ellis Square highlighted. We're going to click Share. We're going to click Embed. And now here's where things get a little bit tricky. All that we need really is this part, the source, but we don't want to take the parentheses. So we want to highlight right before or right after, the quote marks, not parentheses. We don't want to take the quote marks. So we want to highlight right after the quote marks, and we're going to hold that down until we get over here to the edge, and we we want to stop right when we get right before with. So we're simply just copying the source link. Now you want to keep your finger on the mouse. Don't let up here, because if you do, it's gonna highlight all the text, and we don't want all of that text. So I'm going to start from this side over here this time. I'm going to go all the way to the front, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to begin my highlight right after the quote mark. Now, with my finger still on the mouse, holding things down, I'm going to go Command C on a Mac, Control C on a PC. So now I've copied just that source link, and we're going to type in here Ellis Square. And we're going to take and we're going to paste that source link right in here. We're going to check and make sure that we indeed got the entire source link, and we did. So we're going to create this item. That's not going to change anything. We have Johnson Square still on the page. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to open back up our embed element. And just like we did in our Google map, we highlighted just inside of the quote marks. And so that's what we want to do. We want to highlight right here inside of the quote marks. And then we're going to click Add Field. And this is going to pull the field from your CMS collection. And the field that we're going to select, of course, is going to be Google Map. And what's going to happen when we select this is that that source link that was here is going to be replaced by whatever is inside of our collection. And so if I save and close this, you're going to notice that it's going to go to Ellis Square. So you can have this map on any page in your website. You can do it where it's static, or by using the power of your CMS collection, your HTML embed, and our add field pill here. We can change this map to anything that we want that will correlate with the page that we have, and it's all going to be responsive, and it's all free. You don't have to pay any sort of fee or anything like that. With just a little bit of code, we are able to put whatever map we want on the page in a responsive way. All right, well, hopefully you found some value out of this. If you did, would you smash that like button for me? And if you want more tutorials like this, hit the subscribe button. And I'll put this code inside of YouTube so that you can just go ahead and grab that and put that inside of your project. Hope to see you on the next video.